This episode of The Inspiration Show is a super special to me because we're going to be talking all things theater with some very special people who have a very special impact on my life. I always say that an inspiration can be anything you want it to be, and it doesn't have to be a person. Theater has been a major inspiration for me, and not only are my guests today some of my favorite people and biggest inspirations, but they also happen to be some of my favorite performers. Today, I have two very special guests who are back making their second appearances on The Inspiration Show. The incredible Sam Primack, who portrayed the final Evan on Broadway in Dear Evan Hansen, and the incredible Erin Rose Doyle, who portrayed Mary Phagan in the Broadway revival of Portrayed. This is such a special episode and such a fun collaboration, and I have so much love and admiration for you both.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Love you guys. So we're going to jump right into it. So our first question is, why theater? What inspired you and what gravitated you toward theater? And also, was there a specific musical or moment that kind of started it all for you?
Sam, do you want to go first? Take it away.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think why theater? I don't think there's anything like that, like first response, being in the same room as people telling a story, like the collective like audience interaction that like when you're like in a good audience and everyone's kind of excited for it, and like there's that kind of like on the tip of your toes, anything can happen kind of feeling to it, but also like the for me like the feeling of being able to add completely new things every day and try new things and play around with it. It's not like film as it's like one concrete thing. um that's kind of like what drew me to it initially. But like, and then the people in the community and like everything else around it is just kind of like, it's just kind of like a magical place. um yeah, what about you, Erin?
Everything you said, I'm going to touch a lot on the community because being brand new to the North, since I'm from the South originally, and being brand new to the city and an entire completely different place ever, I love the community theater has for me. I've made so many friends from my show that I'm in and also just from other cast members. And you'll always have somebody in a show, even if you don't have everybody in the show, you'll always have that one person, whether it be an actor or a crew member. My best friends are the stage managers right now. So it's insane the community that you have here. And I grew up love playing dress up, and getting paid to play dress up is the best thing ever. So yeah, it's totally super cool.
It's so cool. And I love how you both came from different places, because Erin, you came from Texas, and Sam, you're from Arizona. So when you come to the city and you get to do these shows and meet these people and, step into these characters, it's so special to have a community to do that with. And theater is magic. I will always say that.
Totally.
So can you take us through your first show and when you realized what that theater was something that you wanted to pursue? Sam, do you want to take us into the woods for a bit?
Yes, totally. I don't know if I said this story, I guess probably on the last time I was here, but like, I think I've been chasing this feeling ever since my first production was classically Into the Woods Junior, which is just act one, no act two. It's just act one split up into two. And I played the hen that laid the golden eggs at 4 years old, and they like carried me around. And my mom loves the story. Like during the first bows, I was so excited. And I was just like so happy that it was done. And I ran up to the edge of the stage and fell right off because I just like, it was just black. Like everything around me was just like, I don't know. And I think I've truly been chasing that feeling ever since. Like that is my first kind of like foray into this world. But yeah, that's a great story.
And I always love saying this because Erin, I don't know if you know this, not my story to tell, but Sam's like yearbook, it was little Sam, and it was to be a Broadway star and be famous. And I was like, you're doing that. Like he's doing it.
Yeah, that
shout
was
out
my
little Sam.
I know. Shout out to fifth grade Sam. Yeah, that was my like. They asked in the yearbook like what we wanted in our life, and it really was crazy that it didn't even happen like 12 years later. Like it was like 10 years later. It was something crazy like that. It is just funny, like the power of like manifesting and willing something to be, especially like I'm sure Erin, you can agree, like from a states and parts of the country that like arts funding and education is being slowly taken away, and like the like harshness of like fighting to like try to be in something that you like really love, yeah, like it feels good to like be validated in that way from so far away. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think?
My first show, I was also 4 years old.
Yes.
I was Jane in Mary Poppins Jr., which is great
Aw.
because my senior year musical was Mary Poppins and I was Mary Poppins, so super full circle. But
Yeah.
I remember it was a summer camp at this place called Theater Under the Stars in Houston. And I remember walking in, and the week prior, I had just seen Beauty and the Beast, and the girl that played Belle was the camp counselor. And I was like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that she was a different human. I was like, Belle is in charge of this. This is so cool. And just, I got to wear this cute little red and black uniform. And I just loved, again, playing dress up. And it was so cool. And in that summer, there were 3 different shows that we did. Mary Poppins was the first one. And then it was Jungle Book, where I was King Louie, the ape. And it was so funny.
Yeah.
And then the third one was, I think we illegally did Wicked. I don't know. I knew I was the wizard, but it was not Wizard of Oz. It was definitely Wicked. I don't know how we did it, but we did. And it was insane. And ever since then, I've just been in love with performing, and I made like best friends that we somehow ended up going to the same school for kindergarten through 5th grade. So it was, I've just always been in love with it ever since that. And it helped that my sister was also in it. And I was like, I want to be my sister. So I kept doing it because she was in it.
I love that. Little 7-year-old me was Grandpa Joe in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yes.
And I had a little mic pack. This was like my first time being mic'd and like on stage by myself. I was mic'd, and I'm also a dancer, so they gave me this beautiful dance for Golden Ticket. My mic pack started unraveling as I was dancing, and this is the first time I was on stage, and I was like, what do I do? This is going to take us into our funniest on-stage mishap later. But, you know, it's just those moments of, you know, standing on the stage for the first time, the spotlight hitting you, and just singing, just talking, just dancing. It's a whole new world, and I just love it so much.
Yeah.
So now, reflecting on your time on Broadway, can you share with us what your overall experience was like and what lessons you've taken away from that experience?
Whoa.
Erin.
Okay. So
Yeah,
with this show, it's super deep. It's not a happy show at all. And so it's a very different experience than like people grow up thinking their first show is going to be like Annie or something like super happy. And so being with this, it's just, I've learned a lot about myself as an actor and what my limits are, especially with everything going on, like trying to graduate high school, trying to commit to a college, all while doing a production 8 times a week, sometimes with the risk of protesters showing up, and it's super insane. But I've definitely learned my limit, and I've also learned a reason why Sam and I are friends. You need people outside of your show, or else you are not going to be grounded. And so luckily I've met Sam doing City Center, and I've met so many other people through cast members and just knowing each other, and honestly just swiping up on their Instagram stories and hoping for the best. And
That's what we all do.
Yeah.
But just having the community outside of your show is just as important as having a community inside the show. So I've definitely, that's something I didn't think I would need. But after being with the same lovely humans so much, you don't want to get tired of each other. I use this analogy. It's like being on a family vacation. You love them, but if you're in the room with them one more minute, you might go crazy. And it's just, you need people outside. And it's so great that I have people like Sam outside of the show that I know I can like turn to and be like, hey, let's get coffee.
Totally. Well, like, and like also there's a small group of people who are finishing high school while doing a Broadway show, which is like a small pool of like people who understand how insane that life is. And I luckily only had to do it for like 6 months, and it still was like so incredibly draining. And I think that is something that I learned, is like how to kind of function as a person while having 12 bajillion things going on in your head. And when I was finishing high school, I was learning all 3 parts.
All 3, I was just gonna say.
Yeah, so like my brain was just like spilling out with kind of nonsense all the time. And thank goodness for the the other kids in my cast who were holding me up, and the other people in the community who were kind of just like, and I'm so glad that Parade and all these shows have like, there's like a whole new group of kids. And I'm just like, yeah, I think something that I learned is just we can handle a lot like under pressure. And I think that's sometimes where we thrive is like under that pressure. And like when you're kind of head is against the wall and you like can't really do anything but just like be present and do what you need to do. That is like a world that I like to operate in. So I don't know. I think the hustle and bustle of the city plus high school plus the Broadway show is like my perfect recipe for like, I don't know, being okay.
Being in such a busy city does help.
Yes,
I
totally.
feel like if I was back in Texas with this schedule, I wouldn't be able to survive.
No way.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it's like. It's probably
And Erin, I can't even believe you were doing college auditions like throughout this too. Like that is crazy. Because
It-
I got back in
Evan
City
Hansen.
Center.
Wow. Yeah. I got Evan Hansen the day before my unified auditions. So like I did, and like I did a lot of the work, but I didn't have to go through the whole process. So my hat is off to you, my friend. Like that is so crazy.
It was
wow.
insane.
The life on stage,
Yeah.
but also the life off stage. It's insane.
Totally.
And that takes us right into our next question, because the most special thing about theater, in my opinion, is getting to share a story with the audience and getting to step into different characters. And like you said, and like we all know, when you're on Broadway, you do 8 shows a week. So what keeps you motivated and inspired when you're doing a Broadway run?
Well, another part of my experience with Evan Hansen was the tour I got to do for a year as well, which was also kind of crazy and overwhelming. And specifically out there, but also in New York, definitely like something I wasn't prepared for that I'm sure Erin can attest to. I'm sure I can't even imagine is the fan response and the audience response and like the people who are just very, very much moved by something that we consider work and we kind of hit our marks and do the things. But to thousands of people, it's a whole other thing. And like how your performance can really like, I got messages that said the show changed my life and your performance changed my life. Your performance helped me reconnect with my mother that I haven't talked to in 10 years. Like crazy, crazy, crazy things like that, that I just, the picture of us after the show was sitting next to my bed while I was going through chemo, kind of like just wild things that like, so that obviously it is stressful, but like stuff like that in the long term is what I'll remember from my experience.
Yeah, the most stressful things are the most rewarding, in my opinion. And, to be on the other side of it and, to watch you guys shine on stage and to have the honor of knowing you off stage, it's so special to see that performance element that you have and the way that both of your performances have impacted my life so special. And as an actor myself, how it's changed the way that I approach theater and how I approach a script. And it's just so amazing to have a theater community and people that you can look up to that impact you not only as a person, but as an actor.
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, Sam put it beautifully. The audience reaction, there's some days where I'm like, especially when I was still doing school, I was like, I just did 3 exams in one day. I just committed to a college. I do not want to go to work today, because I think people forget this is our job. And just how people dread going to the office. Sometimes, I hate to say it, we dread coming here because we've just had such a draining day. And especially with such a draining show, both of ours were.
Both of them, yeah.
You don't, like, sometimes you just don't have the energy, but then you walk out stage door and you meet those people, especially with Parade, since it is it's a real story with real people that affected everybody nationwide, worldwide even. It's so rewarding when even just like the smallest people being like this, just the smallest interactions of thank you, just they look you in the eyes and they say thank you, and that makes up for everything going on in my life, everything that I was dreading. And the DMs that I get of like, I'm a Jewish human from the South, and I haven't seen the show, but I listened to the soundtrack and I saw these things and I'm so touched, and thank you for sharing this story. It definitely keeps me going. And on top of that, just having a community within the cast to like look forward to little bits during the show in your track off stage or on stage where you can check in and be like, we're here, this is great, you're my friend, and we get to work together 8 times a week, this is great.
Yeah.
Or seeing people on your day off, like I have a game night planned for a random Monday this next month, which it'll get me through the week if I need it. And so it's just finding the little things that make you happy.
And the audience reaction, going back to that, it's so special getting to see how people react to something that you did. And I was sat down because I'm helping out with going down to see the shows, and it like going to see the shows for the last time, because Evan Hansen was how I found my love for theater. And Parade, it just has a very special place in my heart as a young Jewish girl and as an actor who has such a love for telling true stories. And, to sit down, and I wrote little thank you notes that I'm going to post on Instagram to both the shows. And it was just so like, I was sitting in front of my keyboard and I was like, what do I write? Like Dear Evan Hansen, that was the first musical I saw when I was 11 that really, really stuck with me. And now to be going down to Buffalo as 15 and a half and like seeing it for the last time, the way that it changed my life. And with Parade too, I know the reaction that I'm going to have to it. It's just so special because like I was sitting in front of my computer and I was like, how do I say thank you? Because thank you is not enough. Like the audience reaction and the way that a show sticks with you when you see it, it's so like, to say it's special is an understatement. Like it's so incredible.
So I think that's exactly why we like, to answer the first question, like that is why we do theater. Like that is what, like that is it. Like that is the kind of special quality that it can bring that I don't think any other medium does. And so like, yeah, I think that just, you kind of answered your own question.
Yeah, and that takes me into where I was going to go next, because speaking specifically to Dear Evan Hansen and Parade, these two musicals hold a very special place in my heart. And like I said, Dear Evan Hansen was how I found my love for theater, and Parade, it really changed my perspective of theater in the sense of how an important true story is told through a musical, and the importance of storytelling through theater and through song, because I say this all the time on the show, and it is one of the life statements I will forever stand by. And I truly believe that a musical is the best and most beautiful way to get a message across. So can you take us through your Dear Evan Hansen journey, Sam? And Erin, can you take us through your Parade journey?
Yeah. I mean, as I said, I started when I was 17, halfway through my senior year of high school. And I started as an understudy in New York for the Three Boys. And then I joined the tour as the alternate. And then COVID happened, and then I went back on tour. And then I got to close out the show last year, which those are just kind of the facts. But other than that, like, I remember seeing the show with Ben for the first time and just being like, everything that is happening on that stage is something that I am fascinated and interested by. And I mean, it's now kind of crazy, like, Parade too in my life is like a huge, like, inspiration. I remember being in high school and listening to the album like every single day and writing an essay to my high school theater teacher why we should do Parade, and like being like, this is so I all my friends make, but I literally am so happy that it's like back on Broadway in some form, because I just like I just am so. But my journey with Dear Evan Hansen was wild and fast, and there was a lot of time. 3.5 years is a long time to be like kind of sitting with that grief and sadness. And I think I just learned so much about like empathy and how to kind of like always try to put the best foot forward. Yeah. Erin, what's your story?
I mean, similar to you, halfway through senior year, got cast in City Center. Left for a month, lived out of a hotel, which was not, I don't recommend.
Wow.
Lived in a hotel for a month.
Me too.
Went back to Texas. No
when
way.
I was doing the show in New York, I lived out of a hotel for 6 months.
Really?
It's not glamorous at all.
No, absolutely not.
It's not you'd think it would be, but it's definitely not.
No.
But I came back to Texas after it closed and thought it was the end. I did not think it was going to get a transfer I knew it was going to get a transfer, but I was like, they're not going to take me with it. They're going to get a local. It'll be too weird for me to be there, I think. And then I got my email when I was with one of my best friends, helping him film a self-tape for something. And I knew right then and there my life was gonna change. And I started looking for apartments. And then I closed my senior musical on a Saturday. I flew up on a Sunday, and our first rehearsal was that Monday. So it was the fastest turnaround I think will ever happen. And then just cramming in rehearsal in 2 weeks and then having a week of tech. And now we're halfway through our show, and our 100th performance is next week.
Wow.
And it's, I mean, those are the facts, but I mean, it's definitely changed my entire life. Now I've decided to go to college in the city, which if I hadn't have gotten this, I probably wouldn't have, because I was terrified of the city before having to live here. But now I'm going to college and in the city, and I've made friends that I wouldn't have made without this, that I don't see myself without them now. It's super weird, like especially like Gayton. It's so weird to think I haven't even known him for a year, but I can't imagine my life without him being my friend.
Totally.
And it's just things like that where, yes, I mean, yours wasn't a short run, but because of COVID, it was split up to be like multiple different runs. But it's so weird to think that with this run, it hasn't taken up too much of my life, yet it's my entire life now.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful, weirdly touching thing. I don't know. It's just, I am so thankful for this opportunity, because without it, I wouldn't have met either of y'all. And now I consider both of y'all such good friends of mine. And I don't know, it's crazy.
Like I said, the people that theater brings into your life, it's incredible.
I know, it really, I mean, on that note, can we just say Gaten Matarazzo is the best human being of all time?
We're doing another collab, and Gaten's coming on, because I haven't met him yet. I saw him as Jared, but I mean,
he is probably the sweetest human you will ever meet.
Yeah, he just cares. My run with him really wasn't that long either, and I literally I would consider him truly I don't know what life was like without Gaten. I just love him so dearly. Anyway, everyone go see Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, go see Sweeney.
Yes. Oh, and also Tony Day. I'm so excited.
I know.
Oh my gosh,
it's crazy.
I can't wait.
Coming soon.
I'm so excited. So what do these stories and these characters mean to you? And how did you connect to the show's material? Because both the shows were really deep. And how did you get into character? Because both the characters that you played, I mean, you can't really compare them, but it really takes a lot out of you to step into that mindset and become that character.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I was super lucky, I guess is an okay term to use, that Mary Phagan is a real human. And even though there wasn't much of her life documented before her tragic passing, afterwards, everybody knew who she was in and out. Her whole entire family just wanted to spread her life with everyone, wanted to let everyone know. So I'm very thankful that I had newspaper clippings and things from 1913 through 1915 and on that could tell me who she was as a person, because the last thing I wanted to do was tarnish any sort of memory of her. And it was so great, because her being 13, and in the show at least, I know in real life her father passed when she was super young and she had a stepdad, but in the show she's 13 and her father died when she was 11, and my father passed away when I was 9. So instantly I just felt such a strong connection with Mary Phagan, and of course being from the South, and just I wanted to highlight just the joy she felt, and just such a light. I mean, Frankie Epps calls her sunshine, because she's just a little ray of sunshine. I mean, she's just a ball of energy, and I really wanted to portray that. And luckily I'm still super young, so it was easy to tap into that childlike mindset and just bringing her innocence. And through this show, I've just grown to love her and her story so much. And every day I find new things. I'm still researching her, even though we're on our 89th. Whoa.
Wow.
89th.
Wow.
But I mean, I I am so lucky that I get to portray her, and so many young girls, like, even though she's not in too much of the show, like, feel like they resonate with Mary. And so I get all these like cool trinkets, like somebody made me a Mary bracelet, and just all these young girls that are like, I see you doing this, now I want to do this. And I think that is insane, because I was in their shoes not like 8 months ago. And so it's insane. Sorry, I've talked so much. Sam, you had to get into 3 roles.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
Well, and like as you were kind of saying, like, it is kind of special that I think people are really appreciating the fact that teenagers are being allowed to play teenagers, at least professionally in New York. And like, I think it adds a whole other layer when you know that the people you're watching are, not like adults with pigtails or whatever. Like, there's a certain level like of authenticity and truth to like, like, I was in high school. I am a pretty anxious person in general. And I remember when Evan Hansen came out, and like, just kind of feeling just kind of understood in that, like, wanting to be seen, wanting to have that sense of connection with people. And it's just like a universal feeling that I think they really tapped into really well. And getting to do all 3 was just a blast, because at a certain point I knew the show from every angle, and like, I got to see it like from completely different vantage points. And Evan doesn't leave the stage really. He leaves the stage like 4 times in 2.5 hours. So like, I loved being 17 minutes of Connor, and I loved being like, running around as costume changes for Jared. And I think, like, I personally related to Evan the most, but I loved getting to do the other 2. I didn't get to do them as much, but I really loved getting to do it.
Yeah, it's so special, because Sam told me one of my favorite stories that he and David did when they switched roles, when he was Evan and Connor, and then for the second show they switched. And I love the crazy theater stories, and those points in the shows, like, the ending monologue for me is always a hit for Evan Hansen. And when, you and Jake do "Good Morning, Sunshine," I love that part. And just, because it's so funny, it gets me with you, especially because the accent in the show. Because when I talk to you, I'm like, I know Erin, I talk to Erin all the time. It's just Erin. And then I listen to you in the cast recording because it comes up on my playlist. And I'm just like, that's not Erin.
I know, it's funny.
Sound so many of my friends were like, are you on the album? And I was like, I promise that's me. I promise.
Yeah. I know. I remember seeing, well, both Gaten and Jake, who are friends of mine, too, and being like, that's not what they sound like. Like,
oh, it's hilarious. And because accents were not a thing that I used to do. And for one of the auditions, the director goes to me, so can you try it in an accent? And I was like, the first thing you learn in theater is never say no to a director. You always say yes to everything. So I was like, okay, like, I don't really do accents, but we're gonna give it a try. And it's just so fun, the twists that you can put on theater and the things that they make you do with like the Spanish runs and just all the fun things you get to do in theater. And it brings out a whole new person in you.
Totally.
So looking back on all you have accomplished, what advice would you give to your younger self who just began theater? And then what advice would you give to yourself before you started your run on Broadway?
Well, I don't know, like, Erin, I wonder if you feel the same way, but like, it's weird to hear someone say like all that we've accomplished, because like, I still feel like I'm just trying to go day to day. Like, I'm currently like in this audition kind of actor lifestyle now, and that's actually where I've learned even more about myself. And I think, like, advice wise, I think it's never too late to keep training, and it's never too late to continue your education. Life is just one kind of long lesson, I think. And I think with every opportunity that you're given, it's just another chance to get to learn from great people. And I think that's sort of what, my advice would be, just like, wherever you are, whatever opportunity you're going into, if you kind of look at it as an educational I'm going to get to work and learn from people who I really look up to and admire. Then it kind of makes the accomplishment part of it go away, and it's more about like what you're getting out of it for yourself.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely would say that to my younger self, but honestly, I'll say like right before the run, I think poor Erin just needed somebody to tell her to stay true to herself. She didn't know who she was. She didn't know what she wanted to be, a registered dietitian. She thought she was done with theater. And I just wish somebody would just grab me by the face and go, look, you're talented. You deserve to be here. Don't let anybody change the way that you think of yourself, because theater, within like community theater and school theater and sometimes even regional theater, people see it as such a competition. But then once you get here, you realize that everybody just wants everybody to succeed once you're here. Like all the factory girls, we all go in for the exact same roles now. And we're not like, oh, I don't want to go up against y'all. We're like, oh my God, like, how was your self-tape? How did your callback go? How's your manager treating you? And whereas in like high school theater, if somebody else was your type, they were like, oh, I don't want, like, I'm like, I need to like work my butt off. Like, I want them to fail. But then once you get here, everyone's like texting each other like, oh, did you get it? Or did you get it? Or how did this go? So just like, don't take it too seriously. We're all just, like I said, we're all getting paid to play dress up.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's not life or death.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so fun. And for our final question before we get into our rapid fire, what does it mean to you to get to be the ones to tell these incredible stories on Broadway?
It's crazy. I mean, growing up since I was 4, I looked up to all of these people, and even then, like I looked up to him for so long, and now I'm performing with him, and I looked up to these female like powers that were in theater, and now I have people telling me the exact same thing I would have told other people. So it's such a full circle moment, and really just affirming to myself that I'm doing the right thing and that this is the right career for me. And it's super surreal, but it's the best feeling ever.
Totally. It really is. Like when you have finished a late show week, or you finished your like kind of when it's Tuesday and like the rest of the week seems so insane, but then Sunday happens and you can kind of take a breath. Like there's nothing just better than getting to walk outside and the lights and the community, and it is such a welcoming place, which I was also not expecting. And I just find, if you care about people, they'll care about you back. And like that is something that even if you don't like, you can tell that the person on stage cares about it, and you start to care about them. And it's just a cool cycle that I feel lucky to be a part of.
It's so awesome, and it's so special because I'm in Canada, as you both know. So to get to walk around our little like theater district, and I was recently looking for pictures to post for the closing of Dear Evan Hansen, Sam, and I couldn't stop thinking of you because I know that small little picture of little Sam in his yearbook, and I had that little picture of me with my hands on my hips outside the Royal Alexandra Theatre, seeing the Dear Evan Hansen marquee for the first time, me literally stopping in my tracks, crying when I saw the music box for the first time, and then to be able to get to hug the cast soon, like before closing outside the Buffalo Theater, to say goodbye to that show. Like it's so incredibly special. And I know when I'm in New York for a parade, we have plans with the cast to go take pictures outside the signs and the marquee, and it's just going to be so special to get to see it, because those marquees are really what draw you into seeing a show. And when you see Dear Evan Hansen or you see parade written on a marquee, you don't really think much of it, but once you step into that theater and you're sitting and you hear the first note, it's life-changing. Seriously, life-changing. So I'm so excited to get into this because we don't really do much rapid fire on the show, but I decided it would be super fun. So are we ready to get into it? I'm so excited.
Let's do it.
Okay. So, your favorite scene, song, and memory from your show?
Sam, go first.
Okay, my favorite scene was the opening monologue. My
So
favorite
good.
song is For Forever, and my favorite memory actually has to do with Gaten, and it was on the closing show. I'm not going to show the picture because, as I said, there's a picture of him on my wall, and it is this picture. He might have posed, potentially with his buttocks out, in a beautiful picture of him in the mirror, and taped it on a prop in Dear Evan Hansen, and gave it to me on stage. I opened it up, and there was his bare ass, just out in the world. And so that was an amazing moment for me.
That is not where I thought you were gonna go. I was gonna say, every time I look at Sam's Insta and I see the pictures of my two favorite boys, Sam and Mateo, hugging, the closing Evans,
Oh, that's a cute.
cry, my two favorite boys.
That is a great picture.
I didn't think it was gonna go there.
For sure. No, it went there, and it really if I moved this like a little bit this way, you would see it, but you don't get to see
We're
it. That's
not
just
gonna
for me.
disclose that.
Yeah.
But it's okay. At least we know it's out there.
Yes, it's out there.
I'm dying to know which prop it is. Can you disclose that?
Nope.
Okay.
That's
We'll
all
never
you get.
know.
We'll
You'll
never know. Thanks, Sam. Love you. We're in Europe.
Okay, favorite scene is definitely the favorite. Okay, I'll do favorite scene that I'm in. 100% my scene with Frankie, I'll say, because it changes whoever's on. But it's so, because it's honestly just us messing with each other. Like, we don't take that scene seriously because whoever's on, it's us just playing off of our natural chemistry, and it's great. Favorite song? I mean, I jam out to This Is Not Over Yet because I am off stage and I'm having a full-on dance party. It is amazing. But also Feel the Rain Fall. Oh,
Yes.
Alex and Prentice and Douglas, whoever is on, is always amazing. And then my favorite memory definitely has to be during previews. It's not like a specific memory, but during previews, during every like dinner break between rehearsal and the show, or just something, Charlie and I would get food, go to his dressing room, and just pick a random movie and watch it. So we've watched some James Bond, we've watched some Disney. Like, it was just because we were like, why leave when we're gonna be here in an hour? So we would just chill up in his dressing room and pick a movie, and it was great.
Oh, I love that. And I love you guys. Oh, that's so fun. Oh, I love that. So we know Sam's iconic answer. First role you played and favorite role you've played.
First role was classically Henley the Golden Eggs. And my favorite role that I ever played, that's a really good question. I got to play some really good ones in like growing up. Flat Stanley and Flat Stanley the musical I played. That was a good one.
That's a thing?
Brother. Wait, I was Arthur when I was in it.
No way. Wait, you sang I Wish I Were, the hit song? Yeah. That is so funny, of course. Wow, you played Arthur. We're gonna have to do a duet of that at some point.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Please.
My favorite,
I will gladly jump in for whatever.
Yes, totally. My favorite show that I did in high school was my favorite musical was Jesus Christ Superstar, and I got to play Jesus. And that was so much fun. After seeing my hero Paul Nolan do it in New York, I sat third row for and was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. Then I got to do it and it was awesome.
Also, I need an honorable mention for Little Sam and Addams Family. Just gonna leave that there.
Yes. Yes, Little Sam and Addams Family as well. That was an amazing experience as well.
Who were you?
I played Pugsley on the tour.
No way!
Yeah, as like a little 12-year-old, or 11-year-old, and that was, I mean, during 6th grade, like being able to leave 6th grade and go on tour was also like so insane.
Incredible.
Oh my gosh.
But Flat Stanley was probably number one.
I didn't know that was a musical. I'm being so educated. When Ian was on the show, he told me there was like a Titanic musical, and I was like, have I been living under a rock? Like
there is a Titanic musical.
Like, I didn't know about this.
There's a musical for everything.
They're doing Titanic at City Center.
Yeah, I just saw.
No, my favorite
hear
thing, I'm going a little on the spot, Sam, I'm so sorry, but my favorite two things that exist. One, Sam, you are the next Elsa on Broadway. Sam singing Into the Unknown is my favorite thing in the entire world. And then
Iconic.
also, Sam and his incredible friend, they wrote like a little bit of a song if Fast and the Furious was a musical.
Yes.
It's
Yes,
so
thank you
good.
for thank you for that. We really worked hard on that.
It's
It
so
was called
good.
what it was called Drive Me Crazy. And there was like a TikTok trend going around. Like it was like Fast and the Furious musical written by people who have not seen the movie or any of the movies. And yeah, thank you for that shout out. We really are. I'm gonna need to tell my friend that. We're very proud of that.
It was so good. So good.
Iconic. Okay, my first role, Jane in Mary Poppins. My favorite role, I mean, Arthur's a close second, but in high school we did. Oh, this is my favorite experience ever. In high school, we did Head Over Heels, and I got to play Philoclea, and my best friend was Musidorus. So we were love interests in every show that we were in. But that show, I mean, we took it to state. Like it was
cool.
pretty good, and it was so incredibly fun. And our costumer, we had a student costumer, and they decided that each costume would have the colors of whatever pride flag that their character symbolizes. So Pamela had the lesbian colors, and then I had the pansexual colors. And then it was super freaking cool, but definitely probably that. Or I was Margot in Bright Star in my sophomore year of high school, and I watched the bootleg of that the other day actually, because there's something about it. So those are probably my top two.
So good.
I love Bright Star.
Go-to audition song and favorite song to sing. Sam, I need your go-to audition song to be Runaway Baby. Thank you. Also putting that out there.
Yeah, I wish any audition that I was going on, I was singing anything about, like I could sing Bruno Mars for. My go-to audition song is probably Soul of a Man from Kinky Boots. And what was the other one?
Favorite song to sing.
Favorite song to sing? Probably Runaway Baby. I love singing that song.
Yes.
Oh, go-to audition song is probably, I know it's lame, it's basic. Carrie from Carrie. It's also one of my dream roles.
So good.
Oh my gosh, it'd be
favorite
so good.
song to thanks. Favorite song to sing? The entire Alice by Heart album.
Yes.
So good.
Yes. So
I would kill to be Alice. I'm gonna be her one day.
Yeah,
I'm calling it right
you
now.
are.
that was
sure.
me with Zoe. Like I can't sing, but I was like, I will be Zoe Murphy one day. I don't care how,
Totally.
I don't care when, I will do it. Getting the cast on and getting the Evans was pretty cool. That's okay.
In our 54 Below show, you can make your Zoe debut.
Yes, perfect.
Thank you. Sam, will you do some Only Us with me?
I'm ready.
Thank you. Thank
Awesome.
you. This one I'm so excited for. Funniest Broadway onstage mishap.
That we did or that we've seen?
That you did. Like from Parade or Hansen. Like that happened. If you have one.
Gaines' picture probably like made me laugh harder than it should have in front of the whole creative team and original cast. That was really embarrassing. There was a couple points. Wait, what? Say that again?
No, I just want to say I want to know what scene it was in, because like I feel like Evan can't laugh. Like that's my thing. That's
You're
my
right. You're right. You're right. And it's all Gaines' fault. No,
Sam, I need to know. Okay, sorry.
I'm not putting him on the spot like this. I was told Gaines gonna prank you. And I said, okay, sure. Let's see if he can get me. And he got me. And so that probably was the funniest thing that happened. I mean, there were a couple points where people like forgot lines and we started laughing, or like the screens wouldn't go and we just like we kind of stood there. But other than that, yeah, that was probably the funniest. Not a lot of jokes in our show, Erin. Not a lot of fun things that happen.
No, not really. And I'm also in like 10 minutes of the show, so it's hard. I mean, I forgot the age that I was supposed to say in picture show. My mama never let me till I turned 16. So I just like mumbled I was like, my mom never let me till I turned. And then I kept singing, and Jake was like, I was like, don't start with me. Don't start with me. But I mean,
That's so good.
it's not, I mean, this thing isn't funny, but it's probably like the biggest mishap that happened a couple nights ago. Something with like the rigging of the swing was like a little iffy. So then like it was moved back too much. So like my back was touching the wall. And I just remember sitting there and I was like, this has never happened before. And it probably showed on my face. I probably did not hide it well, but I was like, it was during Flood, the entire song. I was like, what do I do? I mean, it was fine, but I was like, this is so weird.
Yeah.
Or a balloon got caught in my bow once. So I went to let go of the balloon and it was stuck in my hair. I was like, oh no.
And that's like a pivotal moment in the show, if you will. Like, in my opinion, it's pretty
so
pivotal.
Funny.
So I just hit it. It was stressful.
And Sam, I gotta put you on the spot because we gotta talk about those poor boys doing all 3 roles. Did you have a funny mishap or like a thing happen when you were going on for like Jared or Connor? Like any fun memories from going on for the 3?
Yeah, totally. Well, my last show as Connor was actually with Stephen Anthony, who played was our full-time Evan, who I usually there was kind of no scenario in which the two of us were supposed to ever do a show together, because I was his understudy, and we are so similar. And he was someone as well who I really looked up to. I saw the second time I saw the show, I saw him in it before I was involved in it at all, and so to be doing it next to him, and I played Connor next to him. It was just a little like looking in a mirror. Like it was kind of like weird. Like, I don't know, maybe Evan and Connor were really similar, and maybe like in that, one audience kind of got to see a version of the show where, their similarities were actually maybe greater than their differences. And I think that is a really cool like thing to play with too.
Oh, I love that. So who would you say is your biggest inspiration?
That I know personally, or like a famous person?
Whatever you want.
Okay. So growing up, I really, and still to this day, like my Broadway inspiration is Brian Darcy James, for sure. I think
he was so good. I saw him as Baker. Life changing.
Oh my God, he was so good. And Shrek like had this very much profound, like, which is funny to say, but Shrek like had this profound influence on my like life as a kid. And I think I was like this weird, heavy theater kid who loved to sing and dance. And I think the show was all about like accepting your differences and being a bit of a freak. And I think I saw him in it, and I just like then was obsessed forever. And so that is mine for sure.
Since you went Broadway, I'll go personal. My biggest inspiration is my dad. I said this last time, and I know it's super cringy, but no, like he, ever since I could speak, he was playing guitar with me, and we would sing, and he would write songs, and he encouraged me to do shows. And his favorite musical was Wicked, or the favorite musical for like my sister and I to sing. His favorite musical was Man of La Mancha, but he loved Wicked. And the last thing that he had like taken apart in like my life basically was blocking my sister and I in For Good, because we were using it for a competition piece. So definitely, I mean, like, yeah, he keeps me going. I'm like, because he was going to take me to New York on my 18th birthday. And then I turned 18 on a 2-show day in my first Broadway show. So definitely weird how the world works.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, wow. So what was your favorite thing about your shows? I know it's a hard one.
Erin's still in hers. She has a whole.
I know it's so hard because Sam, like this is gonna sound so weird. I'm so still in denial that we're in a post Evan Hansen Broadway life. Like June 22nd for me. It's gonna be a post Evan Hansen life.
I know.
Gosh,
it's
crazy
over.
that it's gonna be over. I feel like it's been around forever.
It's over July 2nd, but for me, it's over.
Well, if you want to go to Argentina, their Argentina production had just opened.
Yeah, Jeffrey was telling me his friend is Evan in Argentina now.
Yes,
I was like, no way.
Yes, I know.
Will you go with me? Can we go?
Let's go. Let's go to Argentina. That's a good question.
I think with mine, it's brought together so many different communities. Like we have the Jewish community, we have the Black community, we have the Southern community, we have the TV community because we had Gayton at City Center, and so they came back for this run because they saw their Stranger Things idol, or people that saw Ben on tour are now turning into Broadway people because they saw him in this, or like older generations wanting to come see some like Howard McGillen and then falling in love with Broadway all over again, and then younger kids coming because they see people that look like them on stage. So it's super cool how like all of these different communities are coming together over one show. Like you wouldn't have guessed that Parade would bring people together, but it does, and it's super cool.
We would have guessed. I guessed. I
would have guessed.
Sam's
Apologies.
a genius.
I'm just so happy that like I can walk down the street and like see Parade. Like my high school Sam is so just like elated about that. Anyway, my probably the community. That's probably my answer as well. Just like the open arms nature of it, and like I'm similar as you, Erin, and like all of the Evans, are we all going for the same stuff? Like there's like every week we have kind of the same auditions and stuff, and you would think that kind of would bring about like a competitive energy, but I think there is like a mutual respect that if you're trying for it, it's kind of anyone's game and it's anyone's ticket and it's anyone's kind of moment. And so like that is just a very freeing feeling that I think like I needed from, because I also came from a kind of hostile high school environment where it was kind of all about the competition and who was getting what. And so I think coming here was just such a nice surprise because it was none of that. And my friends that I've made, like all of my friends here are people that I've met from the show or other shows. And it's just, yeah, it's really cool.
Shout out to the DEH fam. Love you all.
Yes, Mickey downstairs.
Shout out Mickey. I'll see her soon. So special.
Also, I saw Dear Evan Hansen on tour. I didn't see you.
When did you see it? Did you see it in Houston?
I did.
Okay, I was definitely in the cast, but maybe you didn't. You must have seen David.
I saw David. I think as.
Did you see David?
Evan. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay, you definitely probably did. Wait, did you see me as Connor then?
No.
Hold on, I have photos from stage.
Okay, we're gonna. Okay, yeah, we're gonna. Oh my goodness.
Because that is where it happened in Houston that day.
No way.
No.
Oh, I would
Okay.
have laughed.
We are determining this. We
yeah,
are.
that's crazy.
But
Well, that would actually be crazy, Anne.
that would be
Did
insane.
you go on other than? I don't know.
But
wait.
so special.
If it was a Saturday night,
I
then
think
it
so.
We are determining this.
Probably did.
Major things happening. But Sam and Erin, thank you both so much for joining me. This episode was so incredibly special, and I'm so grateful that theater and your incredible shows brought you both into my life. And I love you guys so much. Thank you for inspiring me.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.